Here's an interesting tidbit. Obama did not set foot on the American mainland until he was 17. He spent the first 17 years of his life in Hawaii, then 4 years in Indonesia, with subsequent trips to Pakistan and 3 subsequent trips to Africa. He is as foreign as I am. And I don't mean that critically, I just mean to note it as a fact. His formative influences were off American mainland shores. Now, during the election campaign, when Obama was running for president, by the way, there was a lot of Obama that I liked. First of all, one thing I liked about him is that his last name wasn't Clinton. I thought that was a starting plus, right? So I said, this is not a guy who's going to be entertaining interns under the desk or taking off with the White House furniture. He seems like a nice guy with a nice family. He looks and speaks like the way most of the world would like an American president to look. He embodies a non-racial, race-transcendent image that I said is very good for America. In fact, I'd written a book years ago called The End of Racism, in a sense anticipating and hoping that we would have a leading figure like this. On the other hand, I did notice one odd anomaly. I was surfing the web, and I saw an article from an Italian newspaper saying, talking about Obama's half-brother, George Obama, and it was about George Obama living in Kenya in a 10 by 12-foot hut. George Obama is quoted in the article saying, I'm destitute, I'm living on pennies a day, my multi-millionaire brother will not help me, I don't even use the name Obama because I'm so ashamed. I thought, well, this is odd. Somewhat in response to that, I was writing a blog for AOL at the time. I started the George Obama Compassion Fund. And I wrote an article called Help George Obama Move Out of His Hut. And I encouraged people to send $1, $2, $5 to help George become what he wanted to become, which is an auto mechanic. An editor of an African paper called me, by the way, and he said, "Are you doing this to embarrass Barack Obama?" And I said, yes, he should be embarrassed. In any case, despite that mini involvement, for the last 2 years, I've published absolutely nothing about Obama. Because I thought, here's a new guy, we are in an economic crisis, he's going to need some time to find his footing. Let's see what he actually does. And over 2 years, Obama has done a lot. He has actually been the most effective Democrat since Lyndon Johnson, the most consequential president since Reagan. He has dramatically changed our public policy. You might say that domestically, he has dramatically expanded the government, and abroad, he has dramatically contracted America's role in the world. His goal is to get us out of Iraq, get us out of Afghanistan, for America to play a more modest, a more cooperative role in the world than before. So I sat back and said, what explains what Obama is really doing? If the Muslim theory doesn't work, if the socialist theory isn't quite right, what is right? And I think a good way to ask that question is to ask yourself, what is Obama's dream? What is Obama's dream? Is it the American dream? Is it Martin Luther King's dream? Or is it something else? Well, the American dream. Obama was asked about a year and a half ago in Europe, do you think America is unique? The founders now thought America was unique. They called America the new order for the ages. So the idea that America is a unique country, that is called American exceptionalism. We're exceptional in that we're not like everybody else. So somebody asked Obama, do you believe in American exceptionalism? Obama said, I do not. America is no more unique than the Greeks or the British or anyone else. So he doesn't accept American exceptionalism in that way. Is it Martin Luther King's dream? No. Obama, in a way, embodies that dream. He's a non-racial guy. I don't think he's motivated by race at all. But if you ask, has Obama given a lot of speeches defending the idea of the race-blind, the colorblind society? He's given none. He has never publicly defended the idea of a society where race doesn't matter. He might have mentioned it, but he has never actually endorsed it. So he represents Martin Luther King's dream, but it doesn't motivate him. So what is Obama's dream? And the beauty of this is we don't have to guess, we don't have to speculate, you merely have to pick up his autobiography and he tells you, dreams from my father. Obama's dream is his father's dream. Note the title. It's not dreams of my father, it's dreams from my father. I'm not writing about my father's dreams. I'm writing about the dreams I got from my father. What was Obama's father's dream? What was the dream of Barack Obama Sr.? Barack Obama Sr. grew up in Kenya in the final days of British colonialism. The British ruled Kenya as the British ruled my native country of India. And Obama's father grew up, as did my father, in the great struggle of third world countries to shake off colonial rule. Obama's father was an anti-colonialist. And I know about this very well because that's the air I breathed as I grew up as a kid in India, in post-independence India. Anti-colonialism is unknown to most Americans, but it is the dominant political idea of the third world in the second half of the 20th century. The idea of poor countries in Asia and Africa and South America shaking off Western colonialism, the British, the French, and so on. So what is the anti-colonial idea? The anti-colonial idea is that the world is divided into two, the colonizers and the colonized. The colonizers are the oppressors, the white European countries that have invaded and occupied and looted the rest of the world. And how do the rich countries get rich? They do so by exploiting the countries that are poor, by taking their resources, by grabbing their stuff. And the anti-colonial idea is that today that baton, that leadership position has moved from Europe to America. That today it's no longer the British and the French, they're in the shadows, but the United States has now come into that leadership position. And it is America that is now the rogue elephant that is invading other countries. We are occupying two, Iraq and Afghanistan, and stampeding across the planet, consuming resources out of proportion to what we have. And so the anti-colonial view is that we have to lasso and corral and pull back this rogue elephant. And moreover, a further important corollary, there is an idea called neo-colonialism, neo meaning new. And neo-colonialism means that even when the invading powers go home, powerful economic exploiters remain. The banks, the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies, these plutocratic elites continue to rip off people in their own society and abroad, even when a country may achieve political independence. So this is the anti-colonial ideology believed and affirmed for his whole life by Barack Obama Sr. How do we know this? Barack Obama Sr. wrote an important article in the East Africa Journal in 1965 that I've uncovered and written about at considerable length. It is amazing that this article, which tells you a lot about what's happening in the White House today, is virtually unreported on. No major newspaper has seriously covered it. And what does it say? It talks about what should the economic policy be of a country after colonialism. What should the tax rate be for the people at the top who are these colonial exploiters? And Barack Obama Sr. proposes a very interesting tax rate, 100%. Now, you might say, well, that's insane. What economist in his right mind would say that the tax rate should be up to 100%? But think about the anti-colonial assumption. The anti-colonial assumption is that the rich guy got rich by looting stuff that doesn't belong to him. If you came to my house and took my furniture, what would the correct tax rate be for you? 100%, because it's not your furniture.